It was supposed to be a joke, a ritual, one of those harmless habits left over from childhood. Check under the bed before sleeping, even though you know nothing's ever there. Just dust, maybe an old sock, a misplaced shoe. I hadn't done it in years, but that night, something pulled me toward the edge of the mattress. Not fear, not instinct, just pressure. Like the idea had been whispered too close to my ear. So I leaned over, lowered my head, lifted the sheet, and looked. At first, there was nothing. Shadows, the dull gleam of the floorboards. But as my eyes adjusted, I saw the space stretch, longer than it should have, deeper. Like the floor had peeled back and revealed something beneath it. A wrong layer, a second skin of the world. And then something moved. It didn't lurch forward. It didn't hiss or reach. It simply shifted. A shape in the far distance of a space that should have been no more than 2 feet deep. At the very edge of the unnatural depth, I saw the faint outline of a face. Not mine, not human. Something with the general suggestion of features, but all wrong. The eyes too far apart, too still. The mouth curled into a smile that didn't move, didn't breathe, just teeth and skin and stillness. Watching. Not surprised, not hostile, just waiting, like it had known I'd eventually look. I blinked, and it blinked back, perfectly in sync. I shot upright, nearly fell out of bed. My heart thudded so hard it hurt. I waited, breath held, eyes wide. Silence. I told myself it was imagination, a trick of light, fatigue. I didn't check again. But the bed felt heavier that night. The mattress pulled downward, like gravity had shifted. The sheets clung tighter, as if something beneath was tugging gently. I didn't sleep. The next day, I left the room untouched. I went to work, came back, pretended the night before had never happened. I kept the lights on, kept my music loud. I avoided the bedroom until I couldn't anymore. Eventually, I had to lie down. I didn't look under the bed again, but I swear I heard breathing. It was slow, deep, like someone sleeping heavily beneath me. The kind of breath that doesn't belong to animals or HVAC systems. Full lungs, real lungs. And once, I felt it a warm exhale against the underside of the mattress, right below my ribs. I moved out after 3 nights. New apartment. New city. I didn't bring the bed. I bought a new one with no space underneath. A solid base, flat to the floor. No room for anything to crawl inside. I told myself it was over. I told myself it had been stress, or a waking dream. For a while, I believed it. Then the dream started. I'd be floating, just above the floor, staring at the bottom of a bed that wasn't mine. In the dream, I always knew what was coming. I'd try not to look, try to shut my dream eyes. But I'd always fail. My head would lower, my cheek would touch the floor, and I'd look, and it would look back, closer each time, smiling wider. Then I started hearing the breath again awake, in the daytime, when I stood too still, when I walked barefoot across my floor, when I leaned over to tie my shoes, short bursts at first, then long inhalations. Sometimes they'd sync with mine, other times they were on a delay, like something learning to copy me. 2 weeks ago, I spilled a cup of water. It pooled beside the bed, and in the reflection, I saw a face staring up. Not mine. I tried sleeping in a chair, then the couch, but the breathing followed. The shape shifted. I'd find long indentations beneath pillows, faint impressions of fingers at the edges of drawers, a light tapping sound beneath the kitchen sink, always from below, always just out of sight. I bought a new mirror, hung it across from the bed. That night, I woke up facing it, and in the reflection, something was reaching out from beneath the mattress. Not lunging, just emerging. I blinked. It froze. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Last night, I dreamt I was under the bed. Not crawling, not hiding, just lying there, still, looking up at the slats. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. I heard someone walk into the room. Sit down, settle on the mattress. and then they leaned over. They lifted the sheet, lowered their head, and looked. And I woke up this morning with dust in my mouth. Not on the sheets, not in the air. Inside. Dry, gritty particles lodged between my teeth, coating my tongue. It tasted like the underside of forgotten furniture, old wood, mold, and something else. Something bitter and faintly metallic. I spat it out in the sink, but even after rinsing, the taste lingered. There was a bruise on my cheekbone. Small, almost delicate, like something had pressed against me gently while I slept. I keep the lights on now, but it doesn't help. Shadows form where there should be none. The corners of the room stretch further than they did last week. When I stare long enough, the floor beneath the bed begins to ripple. Not visibly. It's more of a sensation, like the shape of the room is breathing in places it shouldn't. I haven't looked under the bed again, but sometimes I see movement beneath it anyway. Just slivers. Threads of something slick and pale retreating into the dark the moment I shift my gaze. Once, I swear I saw an eye. Not blinking. Not darting away. Just waiting, as though I'd taken too long to return. I started sleeping on the floor of the living room, away from the bed entirely. No dreams there. No breath in the floor. Just silence. But last night, I woke up to the sound of something dragging itself across carpet. A slow, deliberate friction. Not skittering, not crawling, pulling. Something that had weight and limbs and patience. The bedroom door was open. I didn't leave it that way. I lay perfectly still, breath shallow. I stared at the ceiling and didn't blink for what felt like hours. Eventually, the dragging stopped, but I heard the mattress in the other room shift. Just once. A long exhale followed, like something had settled, like something had returned home. This morning, the underside of the bed was clean. Impossibly clean. All the dust was gone. Not just swept or eased, even the corners. Even the places no vacuum could reach. A single strand of hair lay in the center, stretched out like a measuring line. It wasn't mine. I keep finding dirt under my fingernails. Every night before bed, I scrub them. I wash my hands until the skin stings, but in the morning, the grime is back. Thin streaks of soil, like I've been crawling through something in my sleep. I started wearing gloves. Still came back. One morning, there was soil between my toes. I haven't sleepwalked in years. If I'm sleepwalking now, it isn't me doing the walking. Sometimes, I hear my voice coming from the bedroom. Not talking, not shouting, just humming. The same lullaby my mother used to sing to me when I was small. I've stopped answering the phone when it rings after dark. Too many wrong numbers. Too many calls that go quiet the moment I pick up except for the sound of breathing. Not heavy, just there, at the edge of the line. Once, someone whispered something too garbled to understand. It sounded like a name. It sounded like mine. I bought a cot and placed it in the kitchen. It was supposed to be safe. Small space, bright light, no shadows. That was 4 nights ago. Every morning since, the cot has been closer to the bedroom. Not by much, a foot, sometimes just a few inches. But it's moving, or I am. Tonight, I didn't even bother moving it back. I think it wants me to come back to the bed. It's patient, gentle, but firm. Every time I dream now, I start in the same place. On the floor, facing the mattress, just inches from its edge. The world in the dream is silent, flat, and something beneath the bed shifts softly, just once, before everything turns black. Last night, I woke up under the bed. I don't remember how I got there, but something beside me whispered in my voice, low and warm. This is where you belong.